Good morning. Oops. Crap. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning.
I'm
How are you?
doing fine. I'm just going through this here. There we go. I've got some, I guess, notifications from board, so I'm just reading through it first before I have to tell you what's changed.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, I got that done, but wow. Until they give me a new sheet, I can't really make any changes for board, like when we practice,
Yeah.
It did change the order that it's going to be into. So, okay. Well, somebody else is in here, I guess, huh? Ah, Danielle, okay. I don't know why that's on. Why is my recording on? Hi. Oh. Hey, good morning. I got some news about boards, so I was going to go over some things when everyone got here today.
Is
Okay.
it the lashes?
Huh?
Is it the
It's a little bit
lashes?
more than that.
Oh gosh, I'm scared now.
And I really can't give you, I mean, I can give you the order they say they're going to put it in, but they're actually changing the order of the makeup. Like, yeah. So I have to wait until everyone gets in here so I can go through it like all together. But it's
Okay.
weird. It's really strange.
Ugh.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking at it and going, that's different. And it's making the comment about models, and I'm like, what does that mean? Because we can't take models. So I'm looking at this and I don't see anything else. Oh, they won't post them until December 1st. Like the new instructions, because they're going to change it on January 1st. So if you graduate before then, you'll be on the old one. If you don't, you're going to be on the one that's after the first of the year. Okay. So. And then, where it does talk about like this, the NIC sheet or the CIB, which is the Candidate Information Bulletin. Basically, that's telling you how you're graded and how the order is going to go into. But they will do a demo on that, and so you can go onto the website, the Board of Barber and Cosmetology website, and get instructions. Not like step by step. He does a video. He's supposed to be doing a video of it. Okay, so you can watch what he's doing. Do you know what I'm saying? They should have something like, they should have like a question and answer thing when it finally comes up. You know, they'll put out a specific date and you can just log on to the website and watch the webinar. Oh, it's cold over here. Do you notice I'm in a different room? I know, I'm like, okay. Good morning, everyone that walked in just now. I'm surprised. Stephanie, how's the electricity coming?
It's good. They came yesterday and they changed the main breaker. So I have power now.
Good, because it's getting
Yeah.
cold
It is.
and it needs some power. You don't really realize how much you use that power until you actually don't have it and you're like, oh, I can't do that.
I
Oh,
literally
can do
had
that.
nothing to do. I couldn't do anything without power. I just like laid on the couch with a blanket because I was freezing.
I get that part. It's like, oh. There's Avery. Okay. Taking a roll while you guys all come in here. Okay. Avery, Danielle. There's Jasmine. Okay. Good morning, hon.
Good morning.
So I have 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm missing somebody. Avery, Danielle. Oh, it's me. I'm like, I'm counting. I'm like, I'm missing somebody because it said 7. And I'm like, oh, it's me. I'm the 7th person. Dork. It's a dork this morning, I swear. Oh. Okay. So did you have, did everybody find the barbicides and the leukocyte? Okay, good. And you found the dermalogica one also? The one from Dermalogica, the touch. Was it?
I didn't get to do the Dermalogica one yet. I was
Somebody
having
said,
a hard time logging in. Like I created an account, but it was creating a customer account. So I was trying to
oh
find
no,
one.
you have to, it's a student account.
Yeah, I was trying
Did
to
you call
find
the
that.
number? Somebody said they tried to call the number and it didn't work. Okay, there's a 1-800 number they should answer all the time. So I
Okay.
just want to let you know, try that number. Okay, if I have to, I can pull it up off my phone and see which one I have. Let me see what I've got, just in case. Who was it you that said that you couldn't get through? Someone said they couldn't get through yesterday. I don't know, I was scrolling through the like messages and it said, someone had said, oh, I don't get it. And I did look, Danielle, on yours. I went all the way back and couldn't find it. So either you did it and you didn't take a picture of it, or it just, you know what I mean? Because I went through all the way back to like March.
Right, because I went back and it said I had a account already. So I tried figuring out what the password is and then it locked me out and I'm like,
Did it have like forget the password?
yeah, and I even did that and tried doing that and then literally right when I went to go log back in, it's like, oh, you've been locked out. It doesn't give you any option to unlock it, nothing. So it literally just says you've been locked out.
Okay.
I'm
I will call, which one was that? The Dermalogica one or?
No, that was for the leukocyte because I did
Okay,
the
so I will call Leukocyte and see what's going on.
Okay, because I did barbicide last night, and then I finished the DNA online. Thank God, it took me forever. I thought it was gonna be so quick and easy. Then I went on it. I'm like,
You
oh,
finished
I
in
want
one
to
day?
finish it.
Oh
It
my
took
God,
me
you
the
really,
whole day to finish it.
I
Listen,
know.
I was at 20, and I'm like, oh, I only got 7 more. I'm good. 26 had like 14 little dots, and I was like, are you joking?
I know, they're like, oh, I thought I was gonna have like 1 or 2. Oh, I could do this in no time. And I'm like, what? 8, 10, 15? And I'm like, no.
I'm like,
And then you gotta
okay.
answer every one of them.
And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going over my 4 hours. But that's totally okay. I don't care if I'm clocked in or not. I'm like finishing it. I'm like, okay, doing the DNA. And doing the and then I'm doing the bar side. And I'm like, I can't even get the look side. I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Miss Janie,
Uh-huh.
I had already done, the barbicide and leukocyte and
Uh-huh.
dermalogica. Did you want me to resend those certificates? I've sent them already to you once, a
Okay,
few
yeah,
months
send
ago
them
when we
because,
did it.
I'll have something for you for yesterday.
Okay, okay,
Because I did that because there was a couple of new ones in here that hadn't gone through it yet, so I wanted to make sure they did it. And so I went
okay.
through Danielle's and I was like, you know what? The computer is so slow when it has to go backwards on that zip.
Yeah,
I can't just like pull up certain dates. Even I have to go, like I'm scrolling page by page by page, and it's like, oh, you're kidding me? That's months of just junk, and it took me forever. And then I decided, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go through her pages. That was quicker than going through the zip, but no, it wasn't in there either. I'm like, and the only thing I can think of is if you did do it, I'd have to go back through that zip and find it because they didn't print it. And I asked about that, and they said, oh well, if they did it, I printed it. I'm like, no, nobody was printed, so you know.
So did you want me to sorry.
Yeah, you can. Please send it in.
Okay, I'll resend it. And then also the chapter 4, like I did that a while back too. Did you want me to resend the notes in then too?
No, you're okay on that. We just wanted to make
Okay.
sure that everybody, and you already finished your Dermalogica, like the DNA, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who still hasn't done the DNA? Finished it?
So I did
Angela, have you finished it?
the Lucaside and the Barbicide stuff yesterday, but like I said, I got really tired and I just couldn't find the non-customer login yet, so I just was gonna do it today. But did you say you have the phone number for DNA?
Yeah, I'm gonna, Angela sent me the link for it, but I
Oh.
think I've got an actual number. If you hold on 1 second, I'm gonna pull up my contacts here. See what I've got. I think I have, okay, I have this number, okay? 1-888-292-5277. Okay, that'll get you straight through to them.
Wait, what was it again? 888?
Yeah, 888-292-5277.
Okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. And that will actually, that's for your certificate for your DNA, because you have to get that one on, okay? But you can ask her the questions about the sanitation one while you're on the phone with her, okay? But you still need to speak with them to set you up on an account for your DNA so you can start doing that. Okay, like she said, I can't believe she actually did it all the way through. In one day, it took her 6 hours. I know it took a while. It took me like quite a bit of time to do it. And I was doing it like every 15, 20 minutes, you know, I had nothing better to do. I just go through those. I don't know who's calling over there, but I'm like, okay, all right. So this is all I have for today, huh? All right. We already started our recording here, so it's Wednesday, and I wanted to cover some things from board, okay? Because there are going to be some changes. These changes don't take effect until January 1st, okay, of 21. And by December, they're telling us by December 1st, they will have the actual CIB, which is the Candidate Information Bulletin. Okay, so what that means is I'm going to tell you the order because the order has changed, but they have new orders for the makeup. Okay, like the way we do it already, you know, foundation, powder, blush, you know, that order. It says it's going to be changed. So I won't have the specific order that it's supposed to be in until, you know, December 1st. Sorry, were you calling me? Who? Okay, she hasn't come into this area. She's on the wrong phone, I guess. She's, okay, yeah, because she's not coming up here. Yeah, to ask her to make sure she's on the right number and the password. So let me give it, yeah. One second, you guys. Go back to this here. I know, huh? There it is. Okay, it's 708 805 5686. And the password is capital Y, little f, little n, big J, 3, and then I. Because she's not in the right room. Okay. All right. So, we ready? I got your message, Angela. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. This is what they're actually telling us here. You're going to be signing this piece of paper when you get there because of the COVID. Okay. And it's known as the security agreement. Okay. And so it says the violation of the security of this exam includes cheating on the exam, which is a misdemeanor. But if you're found guilty, you could receive a fine, a jail sentence, or both. And it's also a reason for disqualification from the exam site and denial of your license. So just letting you know on that. These are some of the violations that could happen, and that fine is $10,000, by the way. Okay, removing the examination materials from the exam rooms, copying any portion of the exam materials, talking to any other candidate during the examination, copying answers from another candidate, allowing another person to copy your answers, having study material, books, notes, etc. during the exam in the reception area, restrooms, halls, or examination rooms at any time. This includes breaks and lunch times. So you can't take your books or your notes or anything in there, okay, at all. All right, because that's basically considered cheating. It doesn't matter. Okay, it says taking the exam for somebody else, letting someone else take your exam, memorizing questions and or answers from the exam to use yourself or to share with others, getting examination questions or other material before, during, or after the exam, selling, buying, receiving any portion of a future, current, or previously administered examination, and then having an electronic device such as cellular phones, recorders, cameras, watches, etc. during the exam. In the reception area, you can have it in the restrooms, hallways, or the examination room at any time. If they find that phone on you, oh, and let me tell you, they have these little ways to find out if there's a phone being recorded inside that building at any point and that it's on. So they've had it, like they have this little siren that goes off and it's like, you know, and then they go searching everything to find and make sure that you don't have that on you. So you don't want that to happen. Anyways, you will sign that and bring that letter to the exam the day of your exam. And then these are the changes. It says, if you're ill on your examination date, stay home, okay? You'll arrive, the candidates, interpreters, readers, and models. I don't understand the models part because I don't know that we have to do any models, but I had to read the paper here. Must arrive 30 minutes prior to their scheduled time entry for the practical exam, which will be through Suite C. Okay, facial coverings, masks must be worn at all times, and you'll be asked to remove your mask briefly for identification purposes. Okay, physical distancing. Please maintain a minimum of 6 feet between you and others. Your temperature will be checked prior to the entrance, and if your temperature is 100.4 or higher, you will not be admitted. During the exam, okay, during mannequin checks, candidates will be advised to stand 6 feet from the examiner and other candidates. Candidates must disinfect community used items like the broom and dustpan and handles after they use them. Candidates will be dismissed from the exam rooms individually to allow for physical distancing in the hall. If your exam has a break, you will return to your assigned waiting area to be readmitted to the exam. Candidates who do not return at the assigned time will not be able to complete the exam. Because if you're late, what ends up happening is they just lock you out and you can't come in. Whether it's the, at the beginning or not, they don't care if you're, there was traffic or whatever. Good morning, hon. All right. PSI, which is the company that grades your tests.
Good morning.
Good morning, hon. Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to my computer.
It's okay.
I'm waiting 9:30 on my computer. When I'm in, I don't know what happened. But
It's okay.
I have this one, first of all.
Yes, good. You just take a picture of it and send it to me, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to continue what we were talking about board examinations, okay? Oh, Catalina's coming in too. All right. All right. PSI will have a separate exterior entrance for the theory and written exams. Entry for the theory written exam will be through Suite D. When the examination is completed, you must leave the building. Okay, your personal belongings, they can't be brought into the exam site at all because there is no storage, and having a cell phone may get you disqualified. So no one is allowed in the exam site except the candidates. All others should just stay at home because they're not going to let you wait in the lobby. Okay, so because people like to take their family members and say, oh, okay, they're not going to let them in. So they're going to have to be out in the parking lot for whatever reason, forever, how long it takes. And it's a good 4 hours, I'm pretty sure, depending if it goes straight through. Because sometimes it might start at 10 and do your written, which is an hour and a half, and then doing your practical, or doing your practical, which is 2 hours approximately, okay, and then doing the written, which is an hour and a half after lunch. So it just depends on how they schedule you, okay, which one's first. So it's not just 4 hours being there, they might be there almost all day because they don't give out the licenses until after 3 o'clock, okay? So just an FYI on that. Now, these are the things that are changed on the board, like for your examination, okay? It says all examinations, it says EPA registered disinfectant wipes that demonstrate the bacterial, fungicidal, and virucidal properties must be used. Disinfectant sprays are no longer allowed in the testing environment, okay? So you'll have to use wipes. And of course, they're going to still have to have the instructions on it and, you know, how to use it and the ingredients on it, okay, on the label, the original label. All right, estheticians, okay. These are the order that they're going to put it in, okay? So client 1, you set up your preparation, okay, for your first client, and then you're going to be doing cleansing, exfoliation, just like you were doing before, but after that, you're going to do your massage, and then you're going to do your mask. So the mask is now coming after the massage, okay? So there's 4 ops on the first client now, instead of 3. Okay, then you're going to set up for the second client, okay? And then you're going to do hair removal, tweezing and waxing. Then you're going to do facial makeup. Now that order again has changed, but they haven't given me the order yet, okay? Blood exposures next, and you're going to be doing this, it says now on the chin instead of the forehead. So I don't know why. Okay, the particle microdermabrasion, which is next, is going to be on the forehead still. And then it says eyelash enhancement, and it says now it includes a patch test. So it's a good thing we did that patch test on Saturday. But we'll practice that quite a few times so you'll know how to do it. It's not really that hard. You just clean the area, right? Make sure it's dry, and then the glue you're going to just put on that little area where you cleaned it and ask and fill out the consultation or the PD form saying, you know, the client had a negative reaction to it. That's what you'll have to fill in at board. Okay. There's a couple of other things that are on here. All right, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to explain what it means because I had to get a little explanation too. It says products such as protective cream, toners, and antiseptics, okay, that are used more than once throughout the exam are part of the universal or what they call general supplies only. These individual containers of a product should be used throughout the examination for all services. So basically you're going to have one toner or astringent or whatever for your hair removal and for, you know, your makeup and your cleansing. Do you see what I'm saying? Instead of the 3 bottles we had before? Okay, you're going to have one. And so you'll have to leave it up on the table and wipe it to keep it back onto the table. So then it says, okay, candidates cannot have different containers of products for each service. So that may include, they can't have multiple astringents. Any duplicate product will be placed on the neutral table, and at the end of the exam, the candidates will take those items from the neutral table. For examination purposes, the use of a single-use product may result in a failing score. Candidates cannot label and or use products as single-use items, okay? Examples include makeup products in individual cups. That doesn't mean scraping it off and putting it in a palette, okay? That's not what they're asking for, okay? They're just saying if you put foundation in one container and powder in another, do you see what I'm saying? That's what they're saying. You can't have it out ready for that and then just put it in the to be disinfected. So they can't be in those individuals. The strand or PD test, that has to be in the same thing. They're talking about when you get your client 1 and client 2, you know how we used to put, I know I did when we were practicing, I put my little wax baggie inside of my client 2, remember? So that you still pull it out on table 2, but you can't have it in an individual bag setting up for that because it's kind of like cheating, okay? Because they're going to put the hair removal in the bag. They're going to put everything in client 2 in that bag, not separate. So you have to be able to know what you need to pull out for that particular op, okay? That's the only thing that they're asking you to do. That's it on this one. But I won't get the actual instruction, you know, for the makeup and everything until December 1st. This takes effect January 1st. So if you are taking your exam, if you finish school and take your exam before then, you won't be on this particular one. You'll be doing the one we've been practicing, that routine. Okay. I'm looking at a couple of you that are going to do pre-upping real soon, like within a week or so. Okay, just letting you know. All right. Okay, here's the rest of that admittance after the exam. It says pre-up candidates. The admission to the exam will not be granted if you do not provide the proof of training document. When you graduate here, I give you that proof of training saying that you completed the course and you are, you know, certified to be able to take your exam. We will put that in an envelope. It will be sealed with a seal of our school. Okay, you cannot open that. We will give you another copy of that. Remember the one I said you need to make copies of it when you get it? Because if you lose it and you have to come back and ask us for another one, it's $75 to do this, okay? But the one we give you to take to board, you cannot open that envelope, okay? They have to open it at board, otherwise you will not be able to take your test. All right, then your written time. Within 2 weeks, you will receive a candidate handbook from the PSI. and they will have your written theory exam time on the mailing label. Your written exam is scheduled for the same day. If you do not receive a handbook within 2 weeks, you need to call PSI, and there's a number here to give that to you. Accommodations for language, okay? You need to contact immediately if you need to get an interpreter, okay, to help you with your exam. All they can do is read the exam. They can't answer any questions. All right, but when you apply for your testing date, you have to put that interpreter in, and she has to have a background check. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that. All right, again, don't bring any study material or electronic phones, anything in there, okay? Identification. The name on the admission letter must match the name on your current unexpired identification for your admittance into the exam. So you need a valid current unexpired, either driver's license, okay, doesn't matter what state, US military identification, permanent resident card, state identification, which is basically issued by the DMV, a valid passport, or an employment authorization card. Okay, the practical exam cannot be rescheduled for any reason. If you can't make the test on the same day, you're going to have to reschedule it and then pay another fee to take it. However, when I do your pre-op, there is a little notification at the bottom that says you're asking them to not schedule you until a certain date. Okay, so if you have plans to take a little vacation or something, once you graduate, and you don't want to get your exam on those days, you can say, okay, now schedule me after July 1st or whatever. Okay, just an FYI. All right, but you should get some acknowledgement on that pre-op within a couple weeks. Okay, and we have it usually set here if you are pre-apping, because you will still be in school by that time. Okay, all right, any questions so far on anything that I've covered? No one has any questions?
So if I'm pre-oping at the end of this week, and they give me a date for December, I won't have to worry about any of these changes?
No, no,
Okay.
because only in December are they going to give me the instructions on how to do it, like the makeup, the order they want it done in, but they're not putting those out until then. Now, I was trying to tell the girls too, they will have an actual video. It's like, what do they call it? A webinar, and they'll put it on, and you'll go through how to do each part. But how it's set up for cosmetology. Okay, yours is part of cosmetology if you think about it. And so what they do is you have to go through certain parts of the cosmetology to get to the aesthetic part of it. Okay, I'm just letting you know, so you don't have to watch the whole 4-hour thing. Okay, because I've got to watch it myself, because I got to see the changes on it. That's the only way I'm going to know the changes, and I can ask questions at that time. Can you do this? Can you do that? Is this what you mean? That kind of stuff. So that's our oh, you know what? I was trying to figure out models. Remember, I kept saying, why is they saying models? They're talking about interpreters. Okay, those models. Not because you're still having to do it on a doll head. That was kind of freaking me out. I was like, what do you mean models? So now it came to me. So if you have to have an interpreter, like you said, okay, and they'll have to show their ID also. If your ID does not match your address, okay, make sure that it does. If you have to, go down to the DMV and change that now as soon as possible, okay, so that everything matches when you graduate, okay? And if you're doing name changes, get that done now. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until after you get your test to get it, because I can't put in 2 different names. You know what I mean, Griselda?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just want to make sure you
everything
take care of
correct for me. It's okay.
that. Huh?
Everything correct for me. Same
Okay, good.
address, same, yeah.
Yes, good. Okay, because they're going to match it up. Once I send the documents off, those documents have to match what your ID says when you get through the door.
Okay.
Okay, and they don't accept a copy of it, like a photocopy. You have to have the actual hard copy of your license, okay?
Oh, okay.
Or whatever ID that you're using,
Okay.
okay? Because I had someone that, like, she didn't go and her license expired the day before, and she didn't take care of it beforehand. And so she went in there and they're like, oh, well, we have a copy of the one. I just took it yesterday. They're like, no, can't do it. You got to have the actual hard copy of it in order to be let into the exam, because your picture doesn't come up really very well on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
On the copy. Hold on. Can you guys hear that noise? I'm going to go over here and close this for a minute. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, they're putting in their lights for you. Okay, so no more questions. Everybody's kind of got what they have to do, right? And then I will post this up on the board for you guys when you come in on Thursday so you can see it again, or make a copy or whatever it is that you need, okay? All right, I just let 2 more people in. Who did I let in? Catalina, and who else? Who just came back into the class? One more. No, he's gonna say, well, we'll figure it out here. Okay. Let me see. Okay, got Catalina, Angela, Griselda, all right. Just making sure, no, and Megan, okay, and no, oh gosh. And no Diana, and no Jennifer, okay. Okay, finished, all right, so we should be on,
Copy. Oh, Miss Janie,
huh?
said you'll be making the copies of the state board changes,
Yes.
right? Okay, I'm just making
Oh,
sure.
yeah, yeah, and as soon as it gets here, I will give you exactly what it is, because I even went on the website to see if they changed anything, and there's nothing changed on it yet. I'm like, okay, I can't do anything until they do. You know, I can't tell you how to do it unless they change it. Even when they change it, it's not that big of a deal. We can figure it out by the instructions. It's not that hard. Okay, so we should be on page 99, right? In our study guide. Good. Okay.
You know, I have the, you know, yesterday you say about the we call to make an account, right? For the
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I call him. He told he not understand what I say. He called
Where? Who did you call?
uh,
Dermalogica?
yeah, 419.
419?
Yeah, for not the area for code. No, not this one.
No.
No.
No. I'll give you the number because I'll pull it up again. Unless does somebody have the number that I
Maybe
recorded this
tomorrow.
morning?
Tomorrow when I can
Yes.
see you. Perfect.
Okay, we'll do it then.
Yeah.
I have
Okay,
the
so
phone number. I could read it real quick.
okay, go ahead.
Are you ready? I can read it to you. Okay, it's 888 292 5277.
Did
For
you-
me.
Yeah. Were you able to write it down?
Did you write the number down?
Oh,
she
I'm
gave-
sorry. I think she talked.
No, she's talking to you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Can you say again? Thank you so much.
Yeah. No worries. Sorry. So the phone number is 888
Uh-huh.
292
Uh-huh.
5277.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
And then I'll help you if you still don't get it done. I'll get it done tomorrow when you come
Okay.
in, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So we should be right underneath ventilation, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have 5 boxes underneath that. Okay, so your first box is air conditioners regulate changes in the quality and quantity of air. Okay, air conditioners regulate changes in the quality and quantity of air that's brought into our skincare centers. Okay, so dehumidify and eliminate pollutants from the air. Remember to change those filters often. Okay, it says as needed, but often because it picks up everything in the air. Okay, you can use diffusers, okay, to make your room smell kind of nice. But here's the deal on the diffuser: not everybody's going to like the scent that you like, and your clients may not like what the last client got. So there are diffusers that actually run for approximately 30 minutes. So if you use an hour or 45-minute time frame, it runs for 30 minutes, and then 15 minutes it cleans the air. That way, the next person that comes in, you can change the scent to that person's liking.
How
get-
about the candle? No.
Huh?
How about the candle?
You can order them online. They're diffusers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and they're
Freezer.
time diffusers is
Oh,
what they're called. So you can put up to sometimes 6 different scents in them. Okay, and it
Okay.
will clean the air for 15 minutes and then will allow you to put in the next scent.
What
Okay.
about using just like a air purifier, Miss Janie?
You
Like
could do
a
that, but I don't know that you could put a scent in that. Can you?
No, you can't. It's just like because I have one for my car, and so it's like made of bamboo, but it picks up all the air particles or whatever, so it makes the car not smell or whatever.
Yeah.
So I
That's
mean, it
good,
still
though.
works.
Oh yeah. mainly those dehumidifiers, okay, whatever they're, okay, what they're talking about is if you're actually applying lashes, you've got to have that room at a certain temperature and a certain humidity in order for you to do the work that you need to do in a timely fashion. Okay, because if the room is not temperature wise and humidified, it'll take you longer for that glue to set, and it'll take you longer to get the lashes put onto somebody. Okay, so just think about that, because I remember Rosa had told me, she said the reason that she could get them done in so, in an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, was because she had already gone through the tricks and stuff about putting on those lashes and how the room had to be at a certain humidity. Okay, so she has a certain room just for those lashes, and she had them at like 72 degrees for something else, and I don't know what the humidity was set at, but it actually works a lot better. She goes, the glue set, and it was quick. But if it doesn't set, it's going to take a long time for it to dry. That means you can't apply the next lash on. You know what I mean? So just take that into consideration. All right, your second one is forced air furnaces heat the air and purify it by filtering out most of the dirt and debris. So again, they're just asking you to make sure that you change those filters when they're dirty. Okay, some places you just have to rinse the filter, and others you have to replace them, okay, because they're disposable.
Miss Janie, where are we at in the book?
We're on page 99
What
in infection control, and we're right underneath that box where it says ventilation. Okay, and there's a box right there with a little blue and purple arrow.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
see? That's where we're at.
Okay.
Okay, so that was the second block there. It said forced air furnaces heat the air and purify it by filtering out the dirt. And it just says to change those filters again. Okay, your third one is the exhaust fans. Okay, you want to use those because they help circulate the air. They don't clean it, but they will circulate it. Remember me talking about sick buildings and stuff like that, where the air wasn't getting circulated properly and people were getting sick? That's why you want to circulate that air. Okay, so you position those fans to draw air away from your client, okay, or away from you and your client. The fourth one, air should be mechanically supplied through vents. Air returns and or through opening windows or doors, or by using a blower fan to direct that air as desired. So it's basically asking you to use the vents on your machine. Like my air conditioner has those same kind of vents, okay? It can just run air through the building, or it could just put the air conditioning through it. And then there's a fan, an exhaust fan that actually works in there. And then your last one, whenever possible, you want to direct that exhaust air out of the building. Okay, so direct the exhaust air out of the building. So it just talks about air conditioners and how they actually change the air or give you a certain quality of air. Making sure that your heaters are all clean, the vents are all cleaned on that. Make sure you use exhaust fans, right? Make sure you're using the vents. And you want to get that old air out of the building, okay? I know there's a lot of places in Manteca where they're little, there are homes that have been remodeled, I guess you could say, into a business, okay? And they've got windows everywhere, which is kind of nice because the air can come in and there's a nice little breeze coming in, so it's always clean in there. All right, here's our second level of infection control, which is disinfection, okay? So you have 7 blocks in that one. Your first block is going to be, it's the second level of infection control, okay? Second level of infection control. Okay. The second block is, it's the use of products or methods that will kill or destroy bacteria and some viruses, okay? That's what our disinfection is, okay? It's the use of products or methods that will kill or destroy bacteria and some viruses. And we'll get to that in a minute. Which is the next one. Okay, this is where it's going to come in handy. The third one is like, unlike sterilization, okay, chemical disinfectants do not eliminate bacterial spores, okay? So unlike sterilization, chemical disinfectants do not eliminate the spores. And I remember telling you about what that spore was, right? Kind of makes a little bubble and protects that bacteria. And so then when it gets favorable conditions, it will actually pop that little bubble and the bacteria will start growing all over again. So our disinfectants do not kill bacterial spores. And that is a test question from here and for board. All right. Number 4, disinfection is regulated by law. Okay. The EPA, okay, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, is the one that regulates our disinfectants. Okay, and California has the strictest EPA standards in the country. I guess because we're always putting stuff in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. All right,
Yeah,
number
that sounds
5.
good.
The standards for disinfection apply to all the surfaces, your tools, and implements in your aesthetic room. So the standards for disinfection apply to all the surfaces like countertops, desks, doorknobs, that kind of stuff. Okay, and tools and implements. Okay, the 6th one, it says instrument disinfection and pre-cleaning can be done by hand or with an ultrasonic cleaning machine. I think doing it by hand is a lot easier. It's just like soap and water and wiping it down first and then using the disinfectant spray afterwards when it's dry. Okay, because I'm not going to be able to hold that ultrasonic cleaning machine. You could probably put your implements, maybe your tweezers or, you know what I mean? Or your extractor or something in for that machine, but it's not going to help with the rest of the door handles and that kind of stuff. The 7th one, the ultrasonic cleaners proved to be 16 times more effective than hand scrubbing because it vibrates to get all the little bacteria off. So 2nd level of infection control. Okay, it's the products and methods used to kill bacteria and some viruses. It's not like sterilization, so the disinfectant will not kill the spores. It's regulated by law. The standards that we use apply to all the surfaces we apply to, tools and implements. And pre-cleaning can be done by hand or with a machine. And those ultrasonic cleaners are 16 times more effective than hand scrubbing. Okay, so it's up to you what you're going to be using. All right, basically now we're going into our regulating agencies, okay? And I've kind of told you who our regulating agency is for cosmetology and aesthetics, which is your State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology. Well, this is the one for OSHA, which is the very first one, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Okay, your first block though, it's going to read the regulating agency under the Department of Labor, okay? So the OSHA is the regulating agency under the Department of Labor. So if you get hurt at work, and let's just say, okay, the OSHA regulations say you can go up to the 6th step on a ladder, okay, and your boss tells you to go up 8 steps, okay, and you get hurt, okay, who's going to be at fault? Your boss, because you're not supposed to go over that. It sets those guidelines to keep you safe. They're for the employee. All right, so your 2nd block, it's going to tell you that it enforces the safety and health standards in the workplace. Enforces the safety and health standards in the workplace.
Miss Janie, is that an actual state law where you're not allowed to go up to like the top?
Oh, no, I was just using that as an example.
I was like, is that a state law? Because my job actually makes me do that. So
I
I
know
was like,
there are some standards though that you're allowed to do. So yeah, but that's not one of them. I was just using that like an example because they have some weird ones. They do. They do
yeah,
have like.
when you said that though, I was like, oh my gosh, is my job breaking the law? Because they literally make me climb up to like the very top step of a 6-foot ladder.
With no one there to spot you?
Not always, no.
Okay, yeah, you should need a spotter when you're up that high. Oh my goodness. Okay, so then you go down to OSHA, right? And it has a little pink box at the bottom. All right, so the 2001 OSHA bloodborne pathogen standard requires the use of an EPA disinfectant with the efficacy against HIV and HBV or TB. So we've kind of discussed this, but I'm going to slow it down here so you can put that in there. Or is it put in there for you? Is it already printed? No? Okay. So you're going to put in there the 2001 OSHA bloodborne pathogen standard. Okay. It requires the use of an EPA registered disinfectant. And do you know what that means? EPA registered. Okay, they are registered by the Environmental Protection Agency, but they are assigned a number. So on the box of whatever, like barbicide or leukocyte that you're using, it has a number to tell you that it has been approved by the EPA. Okay, so you're going to go EPA registered disinfectant with the efficacy against, so it's got to kill HIV, HBV, or TB. It's usually on non-porous surfaces. Okay. So this requirement applies to all your implements that come in contact with blood or bodily fluids. Okay. So it's the 2001 OSHA bloodborne pathogen standard requires the use of an EPA registered disinfectant with an efficacy against HIV and HBV or TB. And this requirement applies to all implements that come in contact with blood or bodily fluids. Okay. Everyone got that one? Okay, now we can go over to page 100. All right, and we're talking about the material safety data sheet, which is also known as MSDS. And I'm going to put in there AKA SDS, because now it's called safety data sheet. Okay, so they're both going to be right. Okay, and then you should have 3 blocks, like a yellow, a blue, and a green, right? Okay, so your yellow block, you're going to put in there that this provides information on specific product regarding ingredients. Okay, it provides key information on specific product ingredients, associated hazards, combustion levels, and storage requirements, basically. Okay, we kind of covered that yesterday. So it regards the ingredients, it'll have the ingredient list on there, okay? The hazards that you need to be aware of, combustion levels, what level or heat temperature it's going to explode at, and your storage requirements, how to store it in a dark area, you know what I mean? That's basically what they're going to ask you. It also gives you instructions on how to remove it from something. So let's say I spilled nail polish on the floor, okay, on, you know, tile or concrete. It will tell me how to get rid of that off of that particular, you know, concrete or tile. So sometimes it's just pays good attention to look and review part of that MSDS or SDS so that you will know what's going on, okay? And how many times you can be exposed to it. Like there's all kinds of information on there. But anyways, this is the booklet that you're going to keep, okay, at your front desk or somewhere where if the examiner comes in to check your salon, he's going to want to see that you have a binder that contains all of the chemicals that you use, okay? If you do not get one when you place the order, you need to ask the manufacturer to send you one, okay? Because they have to do it by law. Sometimes they just don't do it until you ask for it, okay? But you want to have one for every product in there. Okay, your second one, which is on the blue box, okay? Keep the MSD sheets, which are material safety data sheets, in a binder for emergency references. That's what we were just talking about. Okay. And then your green box, okay? And manufacturers must supply you with that sheet for each shipment or have it available upon request. So in a salon, they ask for some weird stuff. Like if you're in a full service salon and they're doing pedicures, they actually have to keep a pedicure log on who did disinfecting at what time, what date, and who did it. Basically, it's kind of crazy, but we don't want to pass on any germs. All right, below your boxes, you should have the EPA Environmental Protection Agency, right? So this approves the efficacy of products used for infection control. Okay, it approves the efficacy of products used in infection control and it assigns it an EPA registered number. Now, what's kind of weird about this is like the disinfectant solutions, in some counties, they require you to dispose of it differently. Okay, you're lucky that in Stanislaus County, they say that we can put it down the drain, but some counties require you not to put it down the drain. Okay, so you have to ask if you're working in a different county, even though the state regulates everything, the counties are regulating where it gets disposed of. So under the disinfection considerations, okay, since the regulating agency in each area determines the standards, they're going to vary from place to place. And we just say county to county. Okay, so since the regulating agency in each area determines the efficacy standards, they may differ from place to place. So Stanislaus County allows us to pour barbicide and leukicide down our drains, you know, when we're finished with them. Okay, it doesn't allow us to put acetone down a drain or, you know, acrylic or anything like that, okay? In our area, you don't want to put paraffin down the drain, okay? Because that wax will just build up and clump up the drain, and then along with the hair and everything else in this building, it would just not work anymore, okay? So we do use paraffin for like facials, for body wraps, okay? So any leftover that's in the bowl, you have to wipe out with a paper towel, and it must go into the trash, okay? All right, your broad spectrum, okay, it was known as hospital level disinfectants, okay, so you can write AKA, since it's formally known as, but the broad spectrum basically means hospital level disinfectants. Okay, so then you have an orange box, right, and it says when choosing chemical disinfectant agents, you need to consider the following. So the first bullet is going to be, is it non-irritating to the skin? Do you have this in your, is it filled in for you? Okay, I just want to touch base with it then. Is it in compliance with the area regulating agency or health department? Is it economical? Is it easy to use? Is it an agent that works quickly? Is it safe for use with metal and plastic implements? And is it recommended storage container sufficient for usage? Okay, so all of those things we talk about, they fall into play when we're using our disinfectant, because we can. It's not irritating to the skin, but we still wear gloves or tongs to remove from that. We're not, it's still a chemical. You want to make sure you're protected. It is compliance with the regulating agency. It is economical, so it's cheaper than a lot of other ones. It's easy to use. Mix it with water. Okay, it works quickly, 10 minutes, because when I was in beauty school, it was 20 minutes for disinfection. Okay. Is it safe for use with metal and plastic implements? Yes, it is. Okay. However, it's not going to be good if you leave those things in there for days in your quads or your, disinfectant. You ever been to the salon where they have a barbicide jar usually on the counter with their combs in it, right? And they'll take the comb out of the disinfectant, they'll shake it, and then they start to comb your hair. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You still have chemical on there. And how long have those combs been in there? Because they're not supposed to be in there for 3 days or whatever, 10 minutes is their cleaning time, and then you remove them, because after a while it breaks down the product, especially on a plastic, okay? So it's not permanent, meaning it's not going to do it, but if you leave it in there for days on end, it will start to eat away at the plastic. And is it recommended storage container sufficient for use? We keep it down underneath the counter, and it is in a thicker bottle where the sunlight can't get to it to break it down. All right, then you have some fill in the blanks below that. And it says, read the directions carefully and follow recommended safety precautions. Okay, follow specific immersion times and cleanse implements before disinfecting. Disinfection methods do not work instantly, but require some time to destroy the microbes. And then sanitation and disinfection practices are methods most often utilized in the skincare center. So Amir, where are you, hon? I'm going to have you put down these words for me. Where'd you go? She's still here? see here. Where'd you go? Oh, how do you pronounce your name? Yusara?
Yusra.
Yusra, okay. This is for you. So I want you to write down these words, okay? Because this is a
Okay.
fill in the blank that you're going to put in later. All right, you're going to put safety. That's the first line.
Okay.
The second line is immersion. IMMERSION. The third line is do not and time. Okay.
Okay.
And the last one is disinfection. Okay. These are going to be your fill-ins on page 100. Okay.
The last one, what? The last
The
one.
last one was disinfection.
Okay.
DISINFE.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll be your fill-ins for page 100. Okay.
It's I don't have book.
Yeah, I know. Just write down like fill-ins because they're going to
Okay.
be your fill-ins because we're going to go through
Oh,
some more
okay.
fill-ins. Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to go through some more. Okay. I have 13 more fill-ins on page 101 and then another 8 right behind it. Okay. So I'm
Okay.
just going to tell you what you're going to put in that area. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So these are your disinfection guidelines. Okay.
Mm.
So number 1 is discard or disinfect every, and it's implement that comes in contact with the client. So that's your fill-in on that one, is implement that comes in contact with the client.
Okay.
Okay. Number 2 is remove all debris from non-disposable implements and pre-clean by washing with soap and hot water by hand or with an ultrasonic cleaner. So the words you're going to put in there are pre-clean and hot water. Okay. 3, you're going to rinse thoroughly and pat implements dry prior to immersion to avoid dilution. So the word is dilution you're going to put in there.
Okay. Dilution.
Okay, number 4 does not have any. It says completely submerge all non-porous skincare implements in an EPA-registered hospital-level disinfectant effective against HIV, and HBV or TB. Okay, so it is HBV, Number 4, HBV. Could have sworn there was nothing in there until I got down to the bottom.
B or
HB
P.
as boy
Okay.
and V as Victor.
Okay.
Okay, 5. Change the chemical solutions in the disinfectant containers regularly. The word is regularly. Stephanie, when do we change our disinfectant solution?
When we're done with
Regularly?
the
Regularly, but do you
Regularly?
remember how we change it?
Oh, you mean what it looks like?
Uh-huh.
Whenever it's cloudy.
Good. Or once a week, right?
Yes.
Yes, those are the reasons that we do it. That's what they mean by regularly. And depending on how many girls are here, like when we're working all together, there'll be a lot. It might have to be changed like daily, but we do anyways. Okay. Number 6.
6.
Okay. Remove the implement with forceps, tongs, or gloved hands and use self-draining basket. So it's gloved hands is the word that you're going to fill in. Okay. 7 is just saying follow the manufacturer's directions for rinsing and drying. You don't put anything in that one. Okay. Number 8, store the implements that have been disinfected in a clean, dry, covered container or cabinet. And the word is disinfected. Okay. Number 9, never pick up or use an implement or towel that has been dropped on the floor. So the words are dropped on the floor.
Oh. You know what
10,
happened yesterday? Excuse me. You know what? I want to say that. Yeah, you know what happened yesterday?
What happened?
I go to make my hair, okay?
Uh-huh.
Highlight, and she want put for me protein. You know, protein.
Mhm.
Okay. It dropped on the floor, and she take it from the floor, and she use it.
The towel or the protein stuff?
The protein stuff. It's like lotion. It's like cream. You know.
Was it open?
No, yeah, it dropped in the
Oh.
floor, and she taken her hand, and she's like, yeah, I look like that. I don't say what I say, it's because I'm.
Oh, nowadays, I would say that. Okay, definitely say that. Say something. With COVID, yes, you don't want anything having to be put on there that's been on the floor. People walk on that.
Yeah,
No. I don't
and
need to get another one.
she
I'm going
study
like,
and
put that on me.
okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
10, it says use additives that disinfect and sanitize for towels and body wraps laundered in your facility. Okay, there's nothing to put in that one. 11, it says keep a first aid kit on hand. There's nothing to be put into that one. 12, it says refer to guidelines for blood spill procedures for cuts or broken skin exposures. The word is blood spilled procedure. All right, now 13 is going to have 2 words, okay? It's dispose of any materials that come in contact with blood or bodily fluids in a sealable plastic bag and place inside a covered waste can or use appropriate sharps container. The words are sealable, and sharps. So basically they're talking about double bag your blood or bodily fluids, okay?
syllable and what?
Sealable and sharps. Sharps is a container. It's used for needles, but we don't use it here because
Okay.
the state doesn't require it. Our book is for like 50 states. In some states, they allow you to use it. In California, they do not.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give you 10 minutes, girls, for your break. And I will see you back here at 10 after. Okay? All right. So if you don't log off and you just stay online and take your break, you'll be fine. Then you don't have to try and get back in the room. Okay?
Okay.
All right, hon. I'll see you back here in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Are we back? Some of us are, some of us aren't. Everybody cold this morning or what?
It's freezing in my house.
You have heat on at least? Why no heat?
It's not my house, so I don't touch the thermostat.
Is it
Miss
your
Janie-
boyfriend's house?
I literally have my heated blanket wrapped around me. It's so cold. Like it's like insane. Like I haven't been able to get out of bed. It's so bad.
I had to at 5 o'clock this morning. It was freezing, and I realized the window was open in the bathroom. After I got out of the shower. Dang, it's cold.
Yeah, literally on break, I'm like, I'm so cold, and my boyfriend's still sleeping. So I walked in there, and I crawled underneath the blanket, and I slowly started putting my foot up, and then I touched him. He's like,
Right? And Stephanie, why don't you have your heat on? Girl,
Well,
You
my
better-
husband's home right now. He would be at work right now, but he hurt his back at work. So, anyways, he's really hot all the time, so he wouldn't like the heater on. So that's why I'm just wrapped up.
oh, okay. You guys have all good excuses. I actually turned the heat on here. You'll be surprised. Yeah, and the temperature's at 57. It's usually about 40 degrees when I get cold, but I was actually cold at 57 degrees. And in fact, I'm still cold, and Connie put it at 68. I'm freezing. My feet are cold and I have socks on and everything. I'm just cold.
That's big for you, Miss Janie.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so I wanted to touch base with you on your homework and stuff for last week. Okay, so last week, when I did time, I noticed that some of you did not turn in any like zip whips, or you didn't turn any lab work in, one of the two. Okay, so when you come tomorrow and you fill in your sign it off, you'll understand what happened. Because I can only give you the 2 hours if you're in my theory class. If you show no work for that day, I can't give you any more hours. Okay, so that's why I want to make sure everybody understands that. Now, when I'm keeping a record now of what I have to give you that day, so if that work's not turned in on that day, you're only going to get credit for what you did that day. Okay, just an FYI. I have to do that, otherwise I can't keep track of it. There's no way of keeping track. I can't give you credit back one day and then give it to you again on another day. This is what I'm trying to get at. So even though you're, you can't make the 10 o'clock Zoom and you're watching it later, as long as you're doing your work, then I can give you credit for it, okay? But I can't do credit on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's just an absence at that point, okay? You can't make that up because they have to be here at school. It's like 2 days has to be done at home and 3 days have to be done at school, period. That's the way it has to go. So if you miss a day here, I can't say, oh yeah, you can make it up by, doing the paperwork. You can't. That's why I was trying to make that clear for everyone. Okay, so let's go back to our fill in the blanks, and we're down to precautions for mixing chemicals, correct? All right, number 1, tightly cover and label disinfecting products and other chemicals for use in the skincare center. So the word is label in that fill-in. Okay. Okay, number 2, store in a cool, dry area. Air, light, and heat can weaken chemicals. The words weaken. Okay, number 3, purchase chemicals in small quantities. Small is the word. There's a reason for that, because if you get it into large and you don't put the cap back on, you're diluting a lot of product. Okay, because there are things, if you don't have the cap on properly, it will start to dilute the product itself. All right, 4, do not inhale chemical solutions, avoid contact with skin or eyes, wear protective gloves, and refer to the MSDS for procedures if contact does occur with the skin or eyes. So the word is MSDS that goes in there. Okay, number 5, wash your hands with a liquid antibacterial soap and water after handling all chemicals. So the word is antibacterial. 6, try to avoid spilling, and if you do spill, wipe up all spills at once and refer to MSDS for handling. So the fill-in is wipe up all spills. Wipe up all spills. Okay, number 7, change chemical solutions in a disinfectant container regularly as recommended by the manufacturer. So it's disinfectant containers goes in there. And then number 8 is always follow manufacturer's directions. Okay, there's a little joke that always says if all else fails, follow directions, but we're supposed to read those directions before we start anything. Those come first, safety issues. Okay, did anybody miss any of those 8? Okay. Not seeing anybody saying anything, so I'm assuming no one needs me to repeat any of them, right? Okay. So now you're on 102, okay? And it starts off with your blood spill procedure, okay? And you're going to write in there, treat all blood encountered in workplace as infectious. So treat all blood encountered in the workplace as infectious. I have to tell these boys be quiet. Okay. All right, we should have the blood spill procedure. It's in the yellow and orange box, right? It says, if you're exposed to a client's blood during a procedure, take the following steps. So you have to write those steps in, am I correct? Yes. Okay, so number 1, you're going to stop the service and wash your hands. Okay, right off the bat, stop the service and wash your hands. Okay, number 2, it says cover your hands with protective gloves. All you have to write in there is put on gloves. Number 3, it says supply the injured party with a septic powder or spray and the appropriate dressing to cover the injury. What I want you to write in there is supply the injured party with a dressing. Okay, just write dressing in there. Because you don't want to do it yourself for the simple fact that if something gets in there, it gets infected, you know, you don't want to be held responsible for it. So you're going to let her put that spray on or whatever, you know, any type of powder. That septic powder is basically to stop the bleeding if you don't know what that is, okay? It's a powder that they will put over a cut. All right. Number 4, do not allow the containers, brushes, nozzles, or the septic container to touch the skin or come in contact with the wound. So basically you could just write in there, do not allow the containers to touch the skin or come in contact with the wound. Kind of like ours when we use the bottles, right? We dispense out of the bottles, we don't touch her with our skin. Same thing goes there. I think I'm getting a runny nose now. Okay. All right. Number 5, you're going to disinfect the area, the station, with your broad spectrum disinfectant. So you can put in there, disinfect the station with your disinfectant. Okay. Number 6, you're going to double bag all disposable blood, soiled, or contaminated articles. Okay. And then you discard it. For state board purposes, we're only asking you to put it in one bag, right? And then put it into your garbage. But when you have a client and you're exposed to that, I always tell them to put in one bag, Ziploc it, put it inside another bag before you put it into the trash. Okay. You don't want anybody else to come in contact with it. Okay, so at the end of this, it says, if you're injured during a service, follow this procedure. Okay, and you have 2 blocks underneath there. The first part of it is stop the service and wash the wound with an antiseptic. Stop the service and wash the wound with an antiseptic. This is on you. And the second block is going to be to cover the wound with a Band-Aid and wear gloves if you need to continue the service. Now those gloves will stay on until you complete it. It's like your second skin. Okay. So did everybody get all?
Can you repeat that last one?
Okay, so cover the wound with a Band-Aid and wear gloves. Okay. As if the wound on your hand and continue the service. Basically what they're saying, you're going to keep that glove on until you complete the service.
Yeah.
So if this happened in the middle of a service, right? You'd stop, clean it, put a Band-Aid on it, and then you'd put a pair of gloves on. Okay. Now, because we have to wear a pair of gloves anyways, you would have 2 gloves on that boo-booed hand. Okay. Does that make sense to you guys? Because one glove is going to be like your second skin. Okay. Like it never happened. And then the gloves are there to protect you. So since you have to put one on the other hand, you've got to have 2 on the one that you had the accident on. Okay. Does everyone understand how that works?
Mm.
Okay. All right. Sterilization. Okay. This is our highest level, and also they call it the 3rd, but it's the highest level of infection control. Okay. That's your first block. And your second one is going to be, it destroys all bacteria, good and bad, including bacterial spores. Okay, the third one. It's required for all implements used in invasive procedures. Okay, we do not do invasive procedures in the state of California. That is now considered a medical. Okay, so we don't have to worry about the sterilization, but it's required for all implements used for invasive procedures. We're going to say needles and lancets is what they're talking about. Because we're not allowed to use a lancet. That's a tiny, tiny needle. You know, like diabetics would have to get themselves a little puncture there to draw the blood. Basically, we could use it for removing the whiteheads, but we can't in the state of California.
Miss Janie, can you repeat the second one, please?
It destroys all bacteria, good and bad, even bacterial spores. And did you get the third one? Okay. All right, number 4. Occasionally, implements used in non-invasive treatments such as microdermabrasion tips require sterilization. Okay, so you're just going to write in there occasionally. Okay, you might have to sterilize a microdermabrasion tip. Okay, but the ones we use here, we don't have to do that for. We just are using our alcohol on the end of it. And non-invasive means, you know, like when we exfoliate. Okay, they're basically talking about not when they're puncturing a hole in anything. But the other strongest thing that we do to the skin is exfoliate in different depths, right? So that's why they're telling you the tips on the microdermabrasion. Okay. So we should be on 103, correct? Yes, and it's continuation of the sterilization. Okay, under the sterilization, you're going to write in there, the methods are costly and time consuming, okay? The methods are costly and time consuming. And they require a high degree of quality control, okay? So ours is not costly, our disinfectant, okay? And it's not time consuming, okay? And quality control is basically making sure that you have it immersed. That's it. Okay, that's why we're using it, disinfection. But there are a lot of different types of sterilization methods, you know. You can actually use a moist or dry heat, or you can immerse it in a sterilant, a chemical sterilant. And it talks about using it for more expensive items like your comedone extractors, your tweezers, or epilating needles for electrolysis. But you know what? None of that stuff, our tweezers and our extractors can be used with our disinfectant, okay, because we're not puncturing anything, okay, drawing blood, hopefully. Sometimes it happens when we're doing an extraction at the tail end of that impaction removal, but it's not. We're not breaking the skin to get into that. So all you have to put in there is methods are costly, time consuming, and require a high degree of quality control, okay. You can use the method of moist or dry heat, or immersion in a chemical sterilant. They have one more, but we don't use them. It's kind of called, it's a fumigant where you put off a gas, kind of like, you know, those little bombs that you put off it if you're trying to get rid of bugs or something like that. Well, they have a chemical sterilant that's worked just like that. Because we don't do that, so we don't have to worry about it. You just have to know what it is. Okay, so now we're going to go down to our equipment used in infection control. So the first one is the UV light sterilizer, okay? And it utilizes the UV light to kill bacteria in a dry setting, okay? So in other words, you're going to clean it with soap and water, rinse it and towel it dry, okay? And it should be put underneath that light, and that's where the bacteria is going to be killed, okay? As opposed to putting it in, say, a disinfectant solution, okay? It says implements are placed in a cabinet after being completely pre-cleaned with soapy water, and they're allowed to sanitize for 20 minutes. Okay, this is the funny part about this part. Even though it says a UV light sterilizer, and then it tells you it only sanitizes, okay, for 20 minutes it takes, right? It's not even saying disinfectant. So how do they call this a sterilizer? That's what we can't call it, a sterilizer. That's just the name of that piece of equipment. Okay. It says it cannot be relied on to kill organisms. Right there, that tells you it's not a disinfectant. Do you see what I'm saying? Or a sterilizer.
Then what's the point of even having it?
Well, the thing of it is it's just labeled incorrectly. Okay, first of all,
Oh.
right off the bat. Okay, it's so stupid. Okay, the light and the heat is basically drying it, but it just says sanitizing. That's what cracks me up. I'm like, okay, in order to disinfect or sterilize, it must say it's going to sterilize or disinfect, and it doesn't say either. It says sanitize. So our little light in there that we have, you know, everyone thinks that that's our sterilizer. It is not. It's a holding tank, okay? And a holding tank can be just about anything. It could be a shoebox, okay, that's labeled on the outside clean, okay? It could be anything like that. A drawer that's, you know, closes that it says clean on it. That's basically what that little container is. It does have a little light in there to dry, but it's just drying it. It's not doing anything other than that. Okay, so that's why I put them in there like brushes. We put the makeup brushes in there just to dry with the light on. Because
So
the chemicals,
like the towel.
you're just on those brushes, you would destroy them.
Okay.
Okay,
So like
what-
the towel, my towel warmer comes with like the it says the UV sterilizer, like it's the same as like the one at the school, so it's just, it doesn't like disinfect or anything.
No. It's like,
just
okay,
a dryer,
after
like
you
it's a
clean, after you clean certain things, right? Like, let's say you've washed it with soap and water and rinsed it, okay? And you've done your disinfection, okay? You removed it from the disinfectant solution, you rinsed it off, and you towel dried it. Now it has to be stored, right? So that it doesn't get dirty until you use it again. That's where you would put it. That's basically what that means. You're just putting it in there so that you don't put it in a box that's labeled clean.
Okay.
That's what they mean by a holding tank. It's just holding clean implements, okay? We used to have you putting things in a little shoebox, okay? Because we used to put those in the kits for the girls, and I would tell them to put their, once they cleaned everything and they disinfected it, they would put it in the box and they were ready to use. Like your tweezers or your palette or anything else that you properly cleaned, you would put it in there. You just don't want to throw it in your locker. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, Jasmine? Okay. It's just very deceiving because you're thinking it's probably a sterilizer and it's not.
Yeah, because like if I were to like, if I didn't know that, I would think
I'd
like,
buy it.
oh,
Yeah,
my
me
instruments
too.
are.
Yeah, me
So
too.
like
So
I
read up and then I'm like, that's not. Why do you
that's
call
probably
it
the reason
that?
why I bought it, because I was like, oh, a 2-in-1. So I just bought a big drying rack basically. So that's great.
Yep. Exactly right. Okay. All right, your autoclave. This is what's used in a hospital. It's using pressurized steam and heat to sterilize those objects that they're doing. So it's pressurized, steam heated, and it'll sterilize the objects using a high pressure heat or steam. This is basically what the hospitals use when they're disinfecting, or they're sterilizing, excuse me, not disinfecting, sterilizing. They will tell you that critical implements like your lancet, which we are not allowed to use in California, okay, have to be sterilized or thrown away, okay? So every one of the equipment or pieces of tools that you use, they do have a proper disinfection on there, and it will tell you to follow the manufacturer's instructions for its use in maintenance. So we have electrical implements, which we cannot like put them in the disinfectant solution, right, to immerse it. So there's a test question at board that asks the same question. It says, how do you disinfect electrical equipment? Okay, well, that could be any piece of electric. It could be a high frequency. It could be the galvanic. They don't specify which, okay? So the answer is always follow the manufacturer's directions and use a specific product, because each one of them is going to be different, okay? So the answer on that question is just that. Follow the manufacturer's instructions and use a specific product, because they're not actually telling you high frequency machine or galvanic or microdermabrasion. They're not giving you the actual tool. You know what I mean? They're just saying electrical. All right, here we go to another one that's called a chemiclave, okay? And this is another one that will sterilize surgical instruments with high pressure and high temperatures, okay? Sometimes even water vapor or alcohol vapor or a formaldehyde vapor. All of those are used on the chemiclave.
When you
Okay.
say surgical instruments, you mean like if you were to work in a dermatologist office
Or
or
a
something?
hospital, like a surgery room.
Okay.
Anywhere they have to have like the surgery when they're stitching, you know what I mean? Doing operations and
So-
stuff like that. That's what I'm looking at.
But you wouldn't find like a chemiclave in like a regular like spa or anything?
No,
Or, okay.
no. I mean, no. I mean, you could probably, but it's an awful expensive piece of equipment when you can get away with an autoclave, you know, for the salon. But that would be like in different states, not California. You just don't do it in California because it's just disinfection. I know it's hard to believe. Everybody keeps thinking, oh, well, I go, but you can't do that. And they're like, well, what about this? And I go, but you can't do that either. And they're like, well, why did they even mention it? And I go, because remember, your textbook is for 50 states, not just for the state of California. So you have to follow the regulating agency, which is our board, on what we're allowed to do and not allowed to do. So like if you went to Utah, you'd be able to use the lancets and you'd have to sterilize. Okay. But for the 600-hour aesthetic course, you do not have to. It's just disinfection. So turn the page to 104. Okay. And you have your infection control guidelines. Okay. So we're going to fill in. You don't have this filled in yet, do you? Okay. I just want to make sure. So under the sanitation where it says item, I'm going to list some things for you to put in there. Okay. All right. Sanitation, we can do countertops. Okay. Sinks, floors and toilets, and towels and linen. So countertops, sinks, floors, toilets, towels, and linens. Okay. All of those are going to go underneath that item. Now you're going to go over to the procedure part. Okay. And you're going to put it in there to use an EPA registered cleaning product. Okay. Use an EPA registered cleaning product. What I want you to remember in this little area right here, okay, the efficacy label will actually state whether you can use it on the floors or whether you can use it on the countertop. So you have to read what it's going to be used on. Does that make sense?
Always
Even though
we
it's an
follow
EPA
with the
registered cleaning
direction,
product.
direction.
Yes, you're following the manufacturer's directions, correct. So some of them may be used for both and some of them may not, just depending on which one you choose. Okay. Now, underneath the linens, because that's basically where you have a lot more writing underneath that, you're going to put in there your hands before each service, because that's another thing that we sanitize, okay? And right across from it, you're going to write in there, use an antibacterial soap. Don't use bar soaps.
No bar soap? Why? It's not clean?
Bar soap actually starts to melt in like little area and then bacteria can get in there. It's really not an
Oh,
antibacterial.
okay.
All right, and one more that goes under the sanitation, okay? You're gonna put in there your hands and the client's hands and feet, okay? So under the item that you're sanitizing, it's going to say your hands and the client's hands and feet before the hand or foot service, okay? So let's say you took a reflexology course and you wanted to do someone's feet, okay? You'd have to use a method to wipe those feet before you actually worked on them. You know what I mean? Just kind of like you do sanitizing your hands. So steam towel works kind of nice unless it's just really dirty. All right, so under the procedure, you're going to put apply an antiseptic designed for the hands and the feet. Apply an antiseptic to the hands and feet. It's like when they're doing a pedicure, before they even start the pedicure and you're taking your shoes off, they're going to spray it with an antiseptic before they put it into the little foot bath.
Miss Janie, you said towels, linens, and what else?
I had countertops, sinks, floors, toilets, towels, and linens.
Okay.
Did you get them all? Okay. Okay, so that's all of the sanitation, and then you can just draw a line underneath that, and then I'll go to the disinfection. Okay, under disinfection, it's basically asking you what do we disinfect? Okay, and you're going to write in there tools and implements that have not come in contact with blood or bodily fluids.
Tool and?
Okay, tools and implements that have not come in contact with blood or bodily fluids. So that's when we disinfect, okay? Okay, and then under the procedure, you're going to write, use a broad spectrum EPA registered disinfectant. You're going to mix according to the manufacturer's directions. So you're going to use an antibacterial EPA registered disinfectant. You don't have to put in there the effective against because we already know what it has to kill. So has everybody got those in there? Okay, I'm going too fast, I'll slow down. All right, still under the disinfection, you're going to put in there tools and implements that have come in contact with blood or bodily fluids. Okay, that goes under the item under disinfection. Tools that have come in contact with blood or bodily fluids. Okay, this one is antibacterial EPA registered again. Okay, because you have to wash it first. And it's mixed according to the manufacturer's directions from a regulating agency, but you know that part. Okay. Then we have our sterilization. This is the last one. I think God only has one. Okay. So we sterilize another state, not us. Okay. Tools and implements used to puncture or invade the skin. Okay. It's used on tools and implements used to puncture or invade the skin, which we do not do in the state of California. Okay. They do it in other states, but we do not. At that point, it's considered surgery. Okay. Just an FYI. And we're not medical. Okay, and the procedure you're going to do is use a liquid sterilant and or moist or dry heat. Calibrated to a specific temperature. Because again, on the bottle, it will have, instructions on where it's supposed to go and how long it has to be in the sterilant and all of that stuff. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you all right. I'm going to stop there so I can give you your homework for the day. Okay. So everyone finished their keywords yet on this chapter? Okay. Okay, if you have it, that's what you're going to be doing. Your key terms, you're also going to do the cause and effect on page 110 in your textbook. I will give an example on one after this. Okay, you're also going to do the matching on 111. Okay. And then it has talking points on 112. On 112, you're going to have that. You're going to do the challenge on 113. You're going to do the knowledge grid on 115. And the brain conditioner starting on 116 and it ends on 118. Okay, you don't have to do write your own ticket, just go from 1 to 20 on that one. And then on page 119, okay, you're going to do the essay questions. And basically, it's just asking you about sanitation, disinfection, and sterilization. It's not hard. So go back to the cause and effect on page 110. So I can give you another example. Okay. So they give you one on there. Have you got page 110, you guys? All right, it says the cause, and it has the esthetician used electrolysis non-disposable needles on a client. And the effect is that needles are going to be considered contaminated because you used them on a client, correct? So the solution, okay, for this is to sterilize that needle with a liquid sterilant or moist or dry heat calibrated to a specific temperature. That's the example they gave you. Okay, so I'm going to give you the next one so you'll at least have an idea of what's going on, because it's asking you, you know, the cause, what was the effect that caused it, and then the solution of how do you take care of it. So under the cause on the second one, it says client spilled coffee on the counter used to hold makeup displays. Okay. The effect, the countertop appears dirty and sticky, right? All right, the solution, you're going to use an EPA registered cleaning product with an efficacy label stating appropriate for countertops. Okay, that's the answer on that one. So EPA registered cleaning product with the efficacy label stating the appropriate for countertops. So does everyone know how to do this cause and effect solution? Okay. Pretty straightforward, and they're not asking for a lot. But that's going to be your work for today if you want to get your 6 hours, okay? So you'll finish those today, okay? And your key terms. So I'm just going to put on here, we did pages 110, right? 110. Yeah, 110 through 119, okay?
117, no.
Okay, hold on one second. What did you say?
117, you say no.
Oh, page one, I'm sorry, 110 through 119.
Okay,
The pages in your study guide you have to complete,
okay.
okay?
Mhm.
So if you can't pull up your workbook, you know, and your study guide and your workbook, you'll just get the 2 hours today, and that's fine until you come in tomorrow so you can get more instruction, okay? Just remember to bring in your computer tomorrow so we can walk you through it. Okay, hun?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Does everyone know what they're going to be doing now? Any questions? Nobody has any questions? No? Avery, you don't have any questions? Oh, I lost her. Avery?
No, sorry, I thought you
Oh.
could.
Can't see you, you know, I'm like, okay, where are you?
Sorry, I wanted to get comfortable, but yeah, no, I don't have any questions.
Okay. So if you have any questions, just send me a zip. I'm only on the zip from like a 1 to 2, but after that I will be more than happy to answer the questions, okay? All right, ladies. If there's nothing else, you have no questions, comments, or concerns on what we've done so far today? Okay, then I will see you tomorrow when you come in. Don't forget your supplies, okay?
Sorry, I have one question. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
We're not taking a test on this week then, right? Since we haven't finished the chapter?
Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
next week. Okay,
Okay.
good.
Miss Jeannie,
Just-
did we need our steamers, right? And our wax pot?
No, Friday, you're gonna do the steamers, okay? Because by the time we
Okay.
get through with the board and me doing a demo on there, yeah. That's where it's
Okay,
gonna be.
do we need our wax pots?
If you want to wax tomorrow, yes. Okay, and your
Okay.
wax. All right. Okay, then I will see you. Remember, everybody's got to have their kits together for tomorrow, okay? And all their stuff here. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow then. Bye.
Does anybody need anything? I'm going to the 99-cent store today.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Does anybody need anything? I still have some stuff here too, so if you need,
Okay.
you know, tissues or stuff. Okay,
Okay,
right,
bye.
bye-bye, you guys.
Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
Where? Yeah, okay. You say now I have like 1 page to 119. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. I told you I don't have book. Which page?
Okay, that's what the pages would be on the book, or you can go online, but you said you didn't know how to do that. So wait until tomorrow when you come in and bring your computer and I'll show you how to find that information.
It's
Okay?
okay if it's okay if I'm not do anything
Yeah,
today.
it's okay. Today it's okay. No problem. hon.
Thank you to help me.
All
Thank
right,
you.
no problem.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate that.
Okay, bye.